Hello and good evening to you. Welcome to News 360 and live news up here at Desaway in Kanda. My name is Alfred Okansi.
And I'm Natalie Fort. A look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxe Paid,
GT Bank,
and Calipo.
A look at the top stories this evening. University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, calls for the immediate resignation of the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Anthony Afo-Broni.
Meanwhile, some students and alumni of the university have threatened a series of peaceful protests till the Vice-Chancellor resigns or is sacked and some dismissed lecturers reinstated.
Also ahead this evening, increase in motorbike accident deaths, strokes consultations over its illegal commercial use.
We're getting to the world of business tonight, where banking consultant Richmond Echahene expresses disappointment over the finance ministry celebrating the IMF exit and a $3 billion Eurobond.
And on the foreign front this evening, Algeria's Army Chief of Staff demands that President Abdelaziz Bouteflika be declared unfit to rule after weeks of protest against him. Stay with us here on News 360 for the details of these and much more news. As always, you could watch our bulletin on DSTV channel, it's 279, and all across the world on our website, it's 3news.com, and on Facebook, it's TV3 Ghana. Let's get into the very first story this evening. University Teachers Association of Ghana, UTAG, has called for the immediate resignation of the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba, Professor Anthony Afo-Broni, of what they described as vindictive attitude and failure to reconcile factions in the university crisis. At a news conference in Accra, UTAG also urged the Catholic Bishops' Conference to call the Vice-Chancellor to order since he has become what they describe treacherous. Here's reports by Godfred Tanam.
Swift investigation be conducted by SRAJ into the conflict of interest cited against Professor Ian Abekan. 4. We call on the National Council for Tertiary Education, Ministry of Education, IOCO, and the Office of the Special Prosecutor to immediately launch a probe to investigate the several allegations leveled against Professor Afo-Broni.
The president of UTAG, Dr. Eric Opoko-Mensah, said the grounds on which the authorities of the University of Education Winneba stood to dismiss the lecturers were unjustified, making particular reference to Dr. Frimpong Ketri Duku and Dr. Emmanuel Osei Sapong.
It is unfortunate that a respected body like a governing council will publish the details of dismissal letters in that unfortunate press conference, and we believe that it was ill-motivated, unethical, immature, and callous. We deem the overflogged expression, I quote, taken through due process of the law, as established under Statute 36 and in accordance with Schedule G, unquote, as dishonest. We want to state without hesitation that in construing and complying with the aforementioned statute, due consideration should have been taken in composing committees with people who are fair-minded, objective, and had not already taken sides with management.
The association descended on chairman of the governing council, Professor Emmanuel Nicholas Abaka, describing his elevation to professorship as illegal.
Has there been any measures taken by the governing council of UW to investigate Professor Afo-Broni and to cause a disciplinary action against him? Or is it a case that the Reverend Father is a protege of Professor Abekan and therefore not capable of doing wrong? We do not wish to believe that Professor Abekan is being derelict in his duties, or even worse, being complicit in these allegations of financial malfeasance.
He squarely put the blame of bad press the university is receiving Professor Anthony Afo-Broni, asking what he, a Reverend Father, is looking for to be involved in the confusion.
Why should lecturers be loyal to the Vice-Chancellor, Reverend Professor Afo-Broni, failure of which should lead to their victimization? The university is not a place to build a cult or a sect where followership is a necessity. Ladies and gentlemen, UTAD notes with concern this growing sectarian non-academic culture and the rise of a dragon at UEW. If we do not wake up to cure this canker, the effect of the crisis of UEW will be perpetuated by generations to come.
One of the dismissed lecturers, Dr. Frimpong Kechuduku, justified reasons for his lawsuit and described the actions of the university authorities as unfair.
The procedure, which is supposed to have been headed by the acting Vice Chancellor, was something that I was challenging. So if I felt you came through the back door or your appointment was illegal, why then do I come to you for redress? So I felt the best and the neutral arbiter was the court. That's why I went to court.
The University Council has justified the dismissal of the 23 lecturers and why the Vice Chancellor should remain in office.
Well, meanwhile, some students and alumni of the university are threatening a series of protests beginning tomorrow to demand the reinstatement of all dismissed lecturers. They also want the Vice-Chancellor of the university, Professor Afo-Broni, to resign or be sacked. The protesters intend to start their march from the Infantipim School Junction in Cape Coast through Kotokraba Market to the Cape Coast Castle through Anafo, then to the Victoria Park. So that's what they've outlined. If nothing is done about this, this is what they intend to do to push for the demand, the resignation or the sacking of the Vice Chancellor of the University of Education, Winneba. Let's get into Parliament now, where the Right to Information Bill is likely to be taken through the third reading and passed. Currently, the House is going through some amendments. We're going to cross over now to my colleague in Parliament, Komla Kluche, who has been monitoring the situation there. Komla, if you can hear me now, what exactly is happening there?
The cameraman can just pan Abeko, can just pan a little bit. The House is currently debating or considering some bills, specifically the Chartered Institute of Bankers Bill, which is the seventh item on the order paper that we have before us. Early on, the House did suspend sitting for some 3 hours, for which they came back. The expectation is that after the consideration of the Chartered Institute of Bankers Bill, the third reading of the Right to Information Bill will be done. When that is done, then the House would have passed the Right to Information Bill into law. You can see the Minister of Information, Kojo Ponkroma, is in the House there. The Attorney General, the Minister of Justice, is not in the House. The Chairman for the Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee of Parliament, he's also there. The majority leader, who is on his feet now. The ranking members, virtually almost all the members of the committee, are in the House. I haven't spotted the civil society groupings yet. None of them is in a public gallery. We haven't seen them anywhere around Parliament. But yesterday, the ranking member, the Honourable Fuseni, the Tamale Central MP, did tell us that they had not received any amendment or proposals of amendment so far from the committee or from the CSOs. As it stands now, what we can report is that we are expecting the RTI, or the Right to Information Bill, to be passed. When it is passed, after tonight, then it becomes a law after the President appends his signature to it. Indications we pick from the committee is that when they are done and there are some proposals for amendment, the legal processes are there for everybody to follow, for those suggestions or those amendments to be made. But as we speak now, they have not touched it yet. The House is having an extended sitting. They will be sitting beyond 8 p.m. We do understand. Hopefully they may be able to do it. But Speaker did state early on, though, that the House will be having an extended sitting beyond 2 p.m., which is their stipulated time for the House to close. This ostensibly is happening because the House will be rising on the 8th of April, that is next week. So this is what the situation is. The expectation is quite high, though. You can see from here a lot of the members are in the house. We do not see any CSOs, like I did say earlier on, but when it is that, I'm sure we're going to bring viewers up to speed. When it is breaking, it is only on TV3, and we'll break the news as and when it comes. Back to you in the studios.
Fantastic. Komla Kloche there was been on this road for over 10 years. All things being equal, we're hoping that the Right to Information Bill will be passed into law. So Komla Kloche is still in Parliament. You saw him there. He's alone in the press gallery, making sure we bring you up to speed with everything that's going to be happening till sitting ends today here on TV3.
Absolutely, Alfred. Let's turn to some other stories this evening, as about 1,000 workers of Ryder Steel Company and United Steel in Tema say they risk losing their jobs at the end of March if discrepancies in the electricity tariff distribution of both firms are not addressed. The workers in a protest lamented their factories are paying 50% higher than other steel factories in the country, a situation they described as unfair.
In order to press home their demand, some workers of the two steel companies hit the streets of Accra and later presented a petition to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission, PURC. Last year, the PURC introduced new tariffs effective March, which placed the tariffs of the two companies located in the Tema Export Processing Zone enclave at 0.58 Ghana cedis per kilowatt hour, with steel companies outside the enclave paying 0.40 cedis per kilowatt hour. The workers further insist the rate as agreed upon between the PURC and the enclave power company is unfair, forcing the factory's imminent closure by end of March.
The owner of the company came in last 2 weeks and sat down with us, the management, saying that he's running at a loss. He's been here from 2013 up to now. So if he's not gaining anything, and he's paying salaries, he's paying all the taxes, and nothing comes up. Virtually, as any businessman will virtually close down his company and go. We all sell in the same market, like our competitors. We don't sell differently from them. So if you are being charged a higher rate, and you are selling in the same market, how do you make profit?
The workers expect fair and equal treatment.
All we are saying is equality and fairness. We should be treated equally as those outside the enclave. And we should be charged the same 0.41. We don't understand why they should even give only enclave a special rate that they should charge us in the enclave, which is unfair.
The Director of Water Services, Emmanuel Fiati, assured them of handing over the petition to the appropriate quarters.
I'm receiving this petition on behalf of my Chief Executive, and the content will be addressed accordingly.
Ryder Steel Company Limited employs some 400 workers, while United Steel employs about 600 workers.
Well, a stakeholder engagement organized by the Transport Ministry on commercializing motorbikes has identified lack of employment, traffic situations, and bad road networks in remote areas as key reasons why enforcement of the law on Okada remains a challenge. Peter Kwadato also reports that the forum remained divided over the state of the law and blamed the lack of political will as the bane of law enforcement in the country.
Fatalities involving commercial motorbikes, popularly referred to as Okada, increased from 210 in 2010 to 437 in 2016. 313 deaths were recorded in 2011, 325 in 2012, 323 in 2013, 356 in 2014, and 323 in 2015. 411 deaths have been recorded in January and February alone this year. The fatalities led the promulgation of the Road Traffic Regulation, LI 2180, in 2012. Section 128, subsection 124 of the regulation prohibits the use of motorcycles or tricycles for commercial purposes. However, implementation and enforcement of the regulation remains a Herculean task for the police and other law enforcers, resulting in the widespread of the illegal Okada business across the country. The dangers posed by the phenomenon and its effect on road traffic safety prompted the Transport Ministry to commence a nationwide consultation.
Ghana is on a crossroads because of the crashes we have on our roads. And when you look at the general statistics, the contribution of motor riders, Okada riders, their contribution in terms of percentage is 25. So we don't need to be silent. We don't need to keep quiet.
Participants at the first regional meeting in Accra were divided over the state of the regulation 2180.
My interest is how to protect the individual when he sits on the motorbike. If sitting on it will create a problem as regards deaths and injuries, automatically I won't go for it. But if we are putting in mechanisms in a manner that will protect the individual, whether we're using for commercial or not using for commercial, but the human being sitting on it is well protected with standards, regulations, enforcement, I think that is what should be the order of the day.
The meeting was clear on fundamental variables, including unemployment, traffic situation in cities, bad road network in most parts of the country, and lack of political will as the bane of enforcement.
But one of the things that was pushing them to also look at the regularization bit was that they acknowledge the fact that our transport system is not adequate in some of our rural areas. And so that outrightly binding the whole services will pose a challenge also for areas where transportation is actually a challenge. So there is a need for the regularization to be more like prioritized, where we could have some place being regularized, where especially we know that transportation system is a challenge.
The airport's Divisional Motor Traffic and Transport Department head, DSP Augustine Okanta Akrofi, is opposed to any form of legalization.
I'm not of the view that Accra should be banned and then the hit and run should be, permitted. We have one law for the whole nation, and for me, I think that if we'll be able to do something about this traffic congestion, then Okada will die its natural death.
The next forum of the nationwide meetings intended to build consensus and a possible amendment to the existing law will be held in the Volta region.
In some other news this evening, about 300 students of the St. Charles Minor Seminary Senior High School in Tamale in the northern region have been asked to go home after fire gutted a dormitory block.
The blaze is reported to have first started on Friday night at a dining hall structure turned into a dormitory. And on Monday afternoon, another wildfire engulfed the Cardinal Derry dormitory during classes, destroying the students' belongings and other school property. Of the 300 displaced students, 178 were in SS1. He noted the new arrangement will not affect the students, as 2 weeks will be added to the term.
School administration is in dialogue with the PTA and the old boys to see what together we can do to put up a temporary accommodation facility for our students before they come back in 2 weeks' time.
John Achim appealed for immediate support to renovate the burnt structure.
Well, let's go on to the Western region and to the news we've been following throughout the day. The one-year-old boy, that's baby boy, who was allegedly abducted at the Market Circle in Takoradi has been rescued and reunited with his family. 2 persons suspected to have been involved are being processed for court.
Francis Mausi Ahiagbanu was rescued early Tuesday morning by the police after a tip-off. At a media briefing, 42-year-old seamstress Rose Fiaku and her partner, 33-year-old Mason Lawson Latte, were named as the suspects.
As soon as I saw the baby in the boy's hand, I just grabbed him and pulled him out of the boy's hand because I knew that was my baby. The guy was proving stubborn, the girl also was proving stubborn.
The baby had to be taken to the hospital for medical examination before being released to the parents. Mausi's mother, Mami Akusia Boa, cautioned parents to be protective of their children.
I'm happy that I found my baby. My advice for parents, they shouldn't give their awards to strangers.
The suspect, Rose Fianku, who is alleged to have pretended to have been shopping in the market, requested the victim's mother to hand over Francis to her so she could serve customers better. She then took the baby and his siblings to a nearby pastry shop and bought them some, and later returned the siblings, leaving Francis with the pastry seller, promising to return the baby boy, but subsequently bolted with him without the mother noticing.
Some good news there, certainly a caution to parents. But let's turn to some other news as Ghana and Malta have signed 5 memoranda of understanding for the establishment of partnerships between the two countries. The signings took place after bilateral talks between President Akufo-Addo and his Maltese counterpart, Marie-Louise Colliero Preca, aimed at strengthening relations.
The agreement signed between the government of Ghana and Malta are on medicine, bilateral air services, the avoidance of double taxation, and the prevention of fiscal evasion with respect to income tax on income, tourism, and joint commission for bilateral cooperation.
President Akufo-Addo and myself, accompanied by our respective delegations, discussed a variety of sectors of mutual interest, including trade, pharmaceuticals, ICT, tourism, aviation, and blockchain technology, amongst others. Another important matter that we discussed is the importance of connectivity between our countries, which will facilitate connectivity between our two important regions. This would also be a game changer for businesses.
President Akufo-Addo indicated that the agreement will serve as a strong launchpad for more engagements in key sectors of respective economies of both countries.
We see the possibilities of Malta as an entry into the European Union and the European market as something that could be of very great interest to our companies and to our enterprises. So we're determined to do whatever we need to do to be able to make the relationship that we are developing at the high political level translate itself also into economic and social and cultural context. And that is my understanding of the agreements that we have signed today, is to provide the legal framework for those arrangements to be able to fructify and bring value to our two peoples.
President Akufo-Addo urged Malta and Ghana to continue to cooperate at the international level to create a safer and more secure world.
And I am in a video report tonight. Our citizen journalist, Pastor Solomon Goma, reports on the poor state of a dam at Bintiri in the northeast region.
I'm here in Bintiri, in the East Mamprusi municipality of the northern region, and right now I am in a dam that the people use as a source of drinking water. This is not the only community that resort to this place for their drinking water. Other communities like Pangal and Waboli also comes here daily to fetch this water for drinking. These 3 communities have a population of not less than 4,000 people, and they have only 3 boreholes to use. So those boreholes are not enough. So what they do is to come here every day to fetch water for their own consumption. From Bintiri in the East Mamprusi municipality, this is Pastor Solomon Goma, citizen journalist.
Well, thank you, Pastor, for that one. And we hope that the attention will be turned there as we pursue the one district, one dam project. Well, that's one village, one dam project. It's extremely important. Make sure that you can also send your video report to 055-1433-044. That's 055-1433-044.
Definitely. Now stay with us here on News 360 for the latest from the world of business. Coming up shortly.
Hi there, good evening and welcome to the business news segment on News 360. My name is Pa Kwesi Asari. Let's begin with the President. And President Akufo-Addo has urged Maltese companies to take advantage of the new impetus given to Ghana-Maltese relations and invest in Ghana. He was addressing a Ghana-Malta Business Forum in Valletta.
President Akufo-Addo noted his administration had put in place measures to improve the fundamentals of Ghana's economy.
We've been moderately successful in trying to grow the Ghanaian economy, ensuring that our economy grew from 3.6% in 2016, the lowest in 2 decades, to 8.5% in 2017, our first year in office, to 6% last year, and is projected to grow by 7.9% in 2019, making it one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. We have also now successfully completed and exited the IMF program and have decided that with disciplined management of our public finances, we will not have recourse again to a bailout program.
The president told the business leaders the government had implemented measures on formalizing the Ghanaian economy, which have reduced the cost of doing business. The implementation of these measures, he noted, have strengthened Ghana's macro economy and made the country the leading recipient of foreign direct investment in West Africa.
Growing investor confidence has meant that global vehicle manufacturing companies such as Volkswagen, Sinotruk, Nissan, Renault, and Suzuki, major oil companies such as Aker Energy of Norway and ExxonMobil of the United States of America, and tech giant Google are working towards establishing bases in Ghana.
President Akufo-Addo further assured Maltese companies their investments will be protected and secured in Ghana. Maltese companies, he said, have already made investment to the tune of some $19 million in Ghana.
The Chief Executive Officer of Salman Partners and Financial Limited, Dr. Richard Tuahine, has described as sad the Finance Ministry's celebration of Ghana's exit from the International Monetary Fund and the borrowing of some $3 billion. At the Ghana Most Respected CEOs Breakfast Series in Accra, he also urged regulators of the banking industry to step up their game to improve the sector. A report by my colleague Godfred Tanam.
Some few months ago, the Bank of Ghana cracked the whip in the banking industry in a bid to restore sanity. In August 2017, UT and Capital banks were liquidated for failing to meet the BOG's minimum capital requirement. The operations of Unibank, Royal Bank, Beige Bank, Sovereign Bank and Construction Bank were closed down. The Bank of Ghana then announced a new bank called the Consolidated Bank as part of measures to ensure the banking sector becomes stronger. CEO of Salman Partners and Financial Limited, Dr. Richard Tuahine, in his view, corporate governance practice and regulatory failure are to blame for the crisis.
When we say regulatory governance, the corporate governance is self-governance, but the regulatory governance is supposed to ensure that the corporate governance function. Unfortunately, none of them worked. Connected lendings, related party lendings, you can call any name where they're part of the transactions.
He called for a strict adherence to the law to put operators of the sector on their toes.
The government, the Ministry of Justice and Attorney General, it goes for the relevant agencies, the YOCO, the CIDs, and all those who are supposed to bring people to book. 13 billion has been squandered. We borrowed 15 billion. So in the net effect, we only have 2 billion. What are we doing to these people? Are we glorifying them in mediocrity?
He described as sad the finance ministry celebrating the exit of IMF and borrowing $3 billion.
Celebrating the exit of the IMF and the borrowing of 3 billion. It is quite a sad story for us. According to the IMF exit report, Ghana has spent 13 billion as far as when they left on, I think, Friday. And look at it today. We've gone to the Euro money and borrowed 3 billion. Multiply even by the rate they are quoting now. 13 billion against 15 billion. Do we have to celebrate for our own infractions and lapses?
Away from that, economist Dr. Lord Mensah is urging government to prioritize infrastructure development when expending proceeds from the just under $3 billion Eurobond issue. He says the accumulation of external debt and foreign participation in local bonds can pose a risk to Ghana's medium to long-term public debt sustainability. Issuance of Eurobonds has become an essential source of external financing for successive governments, but this is not devoid of risks. The cost of servicing Ghana's debt has been rising over the years, while revenue to GDP remains below target. Proceeds from the $3 billion Eurobond, as stipulated in the 2019 budget, is for budgetary support and liability management, similar to previous bonds. According to Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta, government will use $2 billion to support infrastructure development in the 2019 budget, while the remaining $1 billion will be used to retire some maturing debts. Economist Dr. Lord Mensah wants government to follow through with its infrastructure plans.
So under no circumstance would I say a government shouldn't borrow. But then in the end, whether the borrowing that we're going to do will build up into, the magnitude of infrastructure expectation that we have in the country. So I presume that it's a step in the right direction, hoping that whatever we borrow, will build up into our infrastructure development.
Although he admits there will be demands from other sectors as Ghana approaches election year, he noted the establishment of the Fiscal Responsibility Council will ensure government does not divert resources meant for specific projects.
We need independent minds to build this country. We need minds that can, that can come out clear, to indicate that at least whether we are going in the right direction or we're not. So I believe that a council that has been formed, more or less independent council, and therefore, they will deliver.
The bond, which was the highest ever for an African country, was oversubscribed by 7 times more. That's all for the business news segment on News 360. Thanks very much for watching. My name is Parkwisi Asari. For more business news stories, do log on to our website, 3news.com. Over to you, Alfred. Well, thank you, Parkwisi, with business. Let's get into some more stories now. Casapreco Company, producers of Awake Purified Mineral Water, has handed some 2 mechanized boreholes to 2 towns, that's Okwampa and Ayensuako, in the Ewutu-Senya East District of the Central Region. The 75,000 cedi project forms part of the company's social responsibility to mark the World Water Day.
Lack of potable water in Okwampa and Ayensuaku in the Ewutu-Senya East District was brought up in media reports. The 2 communities have had to depend on the only source of water, which was a river. The story, the head of sales and marketing at Awake Mineral Water said, touched the staff and management of Awake and Casapreco. Ayensuaku, a community that heavily depended on the river Ayensu, got, in addition to the boreholes, a 20,000-litre water storage facility. Okwampa, a smaller of the 2 communities, also got a borehole and 10,000-litre storage capacity.
We are hoping that with this system over here and with a huge storage facility, which will be able to store 20,000 litres of water, we believe that the people of Ayensuako will no more depend on River Ayensu for drinking or for cooking purposes. And so we entreat everybody to keep supporting Awake Purified Drinking Water. Of course, as you keep on drinking Awake to quench your thirst, you are definitely saving lives at the Cardiothoracic Center and also helping us reach out to communities such as this.
The chief of Ayensuaku, Nai Kofi Enchi V, was grateful for the gesture. The district chief executive and several of the community members who graced the launch of both projects, were appreciative for the gesture by Awake Mineral Water.
Hello, I'm Miriam. Let's settle for some entertainment news. So fast rising poet Ko Kumi is unhappy. Many Ghanaians are being exploited and suppressed in the name of religion. In his latest poetic piece, Walk on the Mountain, the young poet sets out to explore fundamental questions about religion and Ghana's mental health system.
I go to church on Sunday and the preacher man says 20 CDs for the healing power. I'm a broke-ass young man who budgeted coins in my pocket, so preacher man don't pray for me. Sell people glass of water for 40 CDs and I ask myself, what the heck? Wednesday church service, people roll on the floor for Most Reverend Angel, Siya, General Overseer. It's very difficult for people to speak about religion and not be tagged in a way. But art is supposed to be able to let us confront some of these things and not feel like we are being disrespectful.
In his yet-to-be-released album, Walk on the Mountain, the talented poet Ko Kumi laments that all is not well with religion. The native of Mampong Ikuapem argues that religion is a problem, noting it has been used as a tool to oppress people.
They tell you that this is what it's supposed to be. You're not supposed to ask questions.
Ko Kumi asserts that if the assumption that smoking marijuana makes people crazy is anything to go by, then religion is worse.
You've heard someone sell all his properties and give it to a pastor, right? Something is wrong with the person. Let's move to someone who got high on, let's say, marijuana and did similar thing, which means that person has a problem in the mind. In one of my poems, I say religion is a legalized opium sold by the primetime media. So how I link these two is, why is it that if religion is making people do things like this, which means it's an opium or it's making them go mad, why is it not illegal and marijuana is illegal? Because they're both doing the same thing.
One of the pieces on the album, Comfort, is dedicated to his late mother.
When Mama got sick, I told Mama to fight. You got to fight for me, Mama. Fight for me.
He regrets how his mom was taken advantage of and exploited by supposed men of God as her situation grew worse.
She fell sick for 4 years. Then pastors came in, I can help, bring this, bring that, bring that. But she didn't get well. She died a day after I finished recording my album. And I was asking myself if she could keep all this money or save all this energy she used in searching for healing from these so-called men of God, she could have saved their life or lived a bit longer.
To him, modern-day Christianity is a problem to a large extent, as it has led many souls astray.
I'll play my part by saying it in poems that we have to change, follow God, spread love, and not focus on a lot of rules set by someone or pastor telling you to do this, to do that before you can go to heaven. It's a personal relationship with God that matters. You don't need to be at any place to do anything for anybody.
The poetic piece, the brainchild of painstaking research, also questions the mental health system in Ghana.
As a kid, I used to follow my grandmom to one prayer camp where we could see people with mental disorders changed. They were chained to pillars and things, right? But what happens if you take the person to a hospital for him to be examined? There's a possibility that it's not about chaining the person. The person is aggressive for a reason. First, they're abusing people's human rights.
He wants government to partner artists to raise awareness and conscientize the citizenry on critical national issues.
Now, so away from poetry, let's do some rap and we'll highlight music and hip life, because I say that because Patapa, you know, for VGMAs this year, he's been nominated for the hip hop category. But the one kind of hit maker is once again in a trend after video of him shows he has a new girlfriend, and it's a white girl on social media. In the video, Patapa is seen in a kitchen cooking with his white girlfriend, and he describes her as his queen. The popular musician said he is learning how to cook as he stares Wache on fire and exchange kisses with his queen. Patapa, who is on tour in Europe, assured fans he will soon be dropping a new single composed for his queen. Reports suggest that Patapizi's Amisti's Ghanaian girlfriend, Queen Pizzi, suffered a broken heart upon seeing the viral video. The obviously hurt girlfriend is seen in a video weeping while singing to express her emotions. It is said that she was rushed to the hospital after seeing the video. All right, let's still stay with Patapaa. Rapper Sarkodie has hailed Patapaa for grabbing a white girlfriend in Europe. Sarkodie's sarcastic tweet comes after watching a video of the one-corner hitmaker kissing his white girlfriend in the kitchen. The celebrated musician shared the video on Twitter with a caption, "Patapizi highest." The viral video has generated a lot of mixed reaction on social media. At Jeff Nikwate posted, "Reminds me of Medical and Sister Derby." In his reaction, I am _ and Kofi also observe this one a permanent visa application. Away from Patapizi, now UB40 saxophonist Brian Travers has been diagnosed with a brain tumor, forcing him to pull out of the band's 40th anniversary tour. Scans revealed the founding member of the band has 2 tumors after he suffered a seizure at home on 19th March. He will undergo surgery on the day he was due to begin the tour. The musician said he will be in spirit, and the only thing left on his bucket list was returning to music. Sad, isn't it? Well, that's it for entertainment news tonight. I'm Miriam Osei Ajuma. There's more news on 3news.com.
It's amazing Miriam couldn't hold back her laughter. But honestly, I mean, we the Patapaa soldiers, we don't approve of this
You the who? You don't
migration
You
to
the who?
This visa.
What one
visa,
person called, yeah,
this
free
is
visa.
Well,
application?
Maybe it's real love.
It
Maybe
could
it's not
be.
visa love.
No.
We don't know if
I know Patapaa has a love for, you know,
curvy women.
Huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Alfred, okay.
Like,
I don't think Natalie will qualify for,
I definitely
specs,
wouldn't.
but
a lot of natural resources, you know.
Well, we hope he's in love anyway. We hope it's not for a visa.
But want to say thank you, and always excited that you spent 60 minutes with us. My name is Alfred Okansi.
I'm Nasty Force. There's a lot more news. Just visit our website. It's 3news.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great evening.